right, you guys. So the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion. It aired on HBO Max yesterday. Evidently, it came on early. It wasn't supposed to release until some other date, but for whatever reason, they released it last night. And I was like, I got HBO. Okay, so I should get HBO Max. And sure enough, I had it. So I downloaded it onto my phone and I watched it this morning. And you guys, it was I really admire Will Smith. There is something to say about a person who has grown, who has become so super successful, and who is able to convey such a humbleness and an understanding of life. It is somebody that I aspire to be. I want to be one of those kind of people who have learned from past mistakes in their life, who get up to be a certain age and just can kind of just be like, okay, yeah, that didn't work. Didn't do that right. I fucked up that. Okay, I learned though. I incorporated what I learned into my life and I'm now a better person. When I see Will Smith, that's just what I see. And we've heard stories about Will Smith, and I mean, we've seen it. He was on that show. He was a huge superstar. I mean, he blew up. You know, he was the rapper, but he was the good rapper. He was kind of the corny rapper, but you know, the white folks liked him. And when you can cross over like that, you know, and the black folks and the white folks like you, then, you know, the world is your oyster. He turns out he could act, and became a great superstar. And I mean, we used to call him Mr. 4th of July, Mr. Independence Day. Like that weekend, we knew a Will Smith movie was coming out. Everybody was going to the movies to go see him. I mean, he was it, And I mean, Will's not old. He's not that much older than I am, but you can just see the evolution of Will. And I really do admire him. He's probably one of the few people who if I saw him, like I would really be. Like I saw him years ago when I worked at Lakeshore. Him and Jada came in the store with one of the babies in a little stroller. He was cool. He was charismatic then, but like he's one of those ones that I would feel starstruck kind of by, him, Missy Elliott. I don't know many other people who there are certain people that I would just love to meet. Those are two of the people. But anyway, so the reunion was good. What I got from it, I don't know if everybody else got from it. I never was no big Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fan. I mean, I watched the show, like if it was on the channel, I would watch it. I wasn't a faithful sit down and watch it every week, but I mean, I've watched enough of Fresh Prince and probably watched it more when he got into college and, were they in college? When Tyra was on there and Nia Long, that was when I started really watching the show. But the earlier shows, I didn't really watch as much. But I mean, you can't deny it. Like that show was a hit and everybody loved the show and all of that. So the reunion, it was good to see everybody get together. Just for that reason, just to see them all. They're all still doing very well. We still see some of them more than others, but they're still out there. They're still acting. Of course, everybody is 30 years older. So it was nice to just see them as a family sit down and talk and just kind of get some of the behind the scenes, look at their pilot show, look at their tryouts for the show, all of that, them just talking about what they learned. Of course, what was touching for me was then they talked about James Avery, which I knew was going to be a touching part of the show because they've talked about James Avery in depth right after he died. Will made it very clear that, that was, that a part of his heart was gone when James Avery died. So I knew that part was going to be, touching, and everybody was crying on the show and all of that. But y'all, I'm gonna tell you what really got your girl. Let me tell you, that scene, and it was really only maybe about 15 minutes, because the thing is about an hour and 20 minutes, it's hour and 20 odd minutes long. And they saved Janet to the last 1/3 of the show. of the reunion. But they had Janet and Will Smith sit down on a one-on-one. And when he walked in, you know, she was like, do I look like a raccoon? You know, because sometimes my eyes look like that. And he was like, your eyes look beautiful. And when he walked in and they walked up to each other and gave each other a hug, you guys, look, I'm getting all choked up now. What was I telling you guys? It's something about growth and seeing somebody that's come full circle. This was one of those moments because we saw firsthand how hurt Janet Hubert was. What's her last? Is it Hubert? Yeah. But we never got the full story. We were left to our own devices of why they got rid of her, why she was replaced with a new Aunt Viv, and then you know, all of the other things came into play. Started talking about light skin Aunt Viv, dark skin Aunt Viv, you know, people chose their sides. And then of course, when we start thinking about colorisms, I mean, we don't even have to go that deep. Okay. All that we have to say is that Janet Hubert did become the bad guy, and she bought into that role, made things even worse for herself. She was so super bitter that it made it hard to even like her. And then of course, Will Smith went on to be Will Smith and become more and more of a superstar. And their paths got further and further apart. She got more and more bitter, started to do all kind of things, say all kind of things, all of that. Then we started to kind of get a little bit of why it happened. And she blamed Will Smith and said that he, you know, pretty much got her put off the show, that he didn't like her and all of that. So then, but it was hard to be on her side because of all the shenanigans that she's put everybody through over the years. And of course, Will Smith being this big star, everybody loves Will Smith. So we hear her story, but it's like, girl, we can't even be on your side because you wilding all the fucking time, you know? But that little piece in the back of us know that all that stemmed from her just being extremely hurt. So you guys, when they sit down and have their conversation, and what I really loved about it is that Will Smith didn't try to interrupt her. He didn't try to say, yeah, but what happened was, let me tell you why I did what I did. You know, he let her say, you know, she had things going on in her personal life that they didn't know anything about. She was struggling. She was pregnant, but she was in an abusive marriage. She was very unhappy. You know, she would come to the set. Of course, she's unhappy at home, so she would bring that to the set, made things really difficult, I guess, on the set. Will Smith didn't know how to process that because he's Will Smith and he's a single, young, 21-year-old guy, you know, and he's on his show and he ain't got time to be thinking about no damn bitch that, you know, is pregnant and mad all the damn time. And you know what, get rid of her. Let's just have somebody else. So she talked about the parts that he might not have been aware of, you know, them kind of boxing her and saying that they were going to give her less money. She did not accept that. She never got fired from the show. She just walked away because she didn't feel like she needed to accept the offer that they gave her. But then it was put out there that she was fired and she was blackballed because Will Smith called her difficult. And, you know, she was just like, you just made life really hard for me. Like, it was difficult. It was bad. And, you know, Will Smith was like, let me just tell you, I was 21 years old then. I didn't have any kids and didn't have no family. Like, I was just being me. I had no idea. He said, you know, but if I would do things totally different now after being married and having kids. And, you know, I'm sure he could say a whole lot more about his marriage and all of that. Like, you know, there's nothing like perspective. Things that have happened throughout your life that just makes you realize that you fucked that up, you know? And so that's kind of how he was. And I like the fact that he said that he didn't want to be that guy. He said, you know, he goes around, he talks about human relationships and contact and being a good person and, you know, being, you know, intentional and being that kind of a person. And then you have somebody that has a beef with you pretty much for 30 years. You know, how can you successfully say, yeah, I did all that I want in my life. And, you know, I can't say I have any enemies out there when you know you do. You know, so he was like, he couldn't have this reunion without her. And I agree. There's no way that we would have had a little side eye if she wasn't included in some kind of way. But then it also would have been a little understandable because Janet has been so difficult in the past. But you could tell that she was ready to heal. And I don't say these words easily, you guys, because I'm not a real touchy frou-frou kind of person. But the genuine need to get past this after 30 years, it was just so nice, you guys. And when I tell you, I was crying, nigga, not just one Mimi tear. I'm talking about the tears was coming. And, you know, when he told the cast, because they didn't know that he had this conversation with her, but when he told the cast that he had the conversation and she wanted to come in and talk to them, you know, and they agreed, and just to see everybody hugging. And I mean, I felt like I was part of the family, like, you know, one of my old cousins that the family had been wrote off, you know, that he came back around and then we accepted him back in the fold or something. You guys, I just was like, this is so fucking touching. So touching, you know, the fact that her and Daphne had never even met each other. That's how you know that they pit women against each other. You would have thought that those two have had some sort of words over these years. They ain't even met each other, you guys. It was just, I was like so emotional watching that because I was like, this is great. This is great, you guys. So if you don't watch it for any other reason, because I honestly had no intentions of watching it. The only reason why I kind of watched it was because you guys asked me about it. Hey girl, how you doing? She asked me to talk about it in this video, but I had no intention of talking about it because I was just like, I mean, he's Fresh Prince. Like, I don't want to watch it. Like, I didn't even really watch the show, and I'm sure, you know. But yeah, that Janet thing was everything. It was everything. And then this morning when I woke up and I saw that Ashley had posted a picture of the, you know, the light skin and the dark skin on Viv and them two hugging up together and all that, I was just like, this is great. It just does my heart so well, you guys. So that is my review of the reunion. So if you have HBO Max, you guys go on and check out the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion. It's definitely worth a see. Remember last week I was telling you guys about the rappers that had been shot, and one of them was Mo3. You guys told me that is his name, so thank goodness I wasn't butchering his name. Remember I told you guys that he was shot on the highway out there and killed in Dallas. So this week, a couple of days ago, they were having a vigil for him in Dallas, and Lil Boosie was there. So I'm not quite sure where this vigil was, but after they had it, when it was over, immediately afterwards, they said the shots rang out. And, you know, everybody does what they do when there's shots. You know, everybody ran. By the time the police got there, nobody was there, you know, suspects or victims of this shooting, and they weren't able to arrest anybody behind it. But Lil Boosie turns up at a Dallas hospital later with a gunshot wound to his leg. Okay, so they admitted him, and they're saying that he has complications now. So evidently Boosie is a diabetic. I didn't know that, but he is a diabetic, and you guys know that open wounds to somebody with diabetes could mean death. Okay, when you're diabetic, you don't need no kind of cuts on you because your body does not heal, and then that opens up for infection. And so that is what they're saying the complications are from. I got somebody sent me in my DMs on Instagram today that there is a blog, a lesser known blog. I don't know the name of the blog, but they're saying that now he has to get his leg amputated. Now that is not confirmed. That right now is just a rumor. I'm not sure if people are just putting 20 on 10 because they know that he's a diabetic. They've heard that there's complications, and now they're just saying that he's going to have to get his leg amputated. So I don't want to put it out there as fact. That is definitely a rumor, but the rumor is going around that is happening. But we don't have any proof of that. I surely hope that is not the case. My Aunt Dorothy, God rest her soul, but she had diabetes, and we saw them cut off a couple of toes and then half of her foot and then up to her knee and then eventually her entire leg. And she died very shortly after she had her leg amputated. That is a severe operation. That is a huge loss. And then for you to be diabetic and, you know, you missing a whole limb. I mean, you know, so this can't be good. Even if he doesn't lose his limb, being shot as a diabetic, or as anybody, but more so as a diabetic, this isn't good for him. So we're gonna hear, I mean, you know, I'll continue to look out and see if that rumor does get confirmed. Hopefully it is just somebody, you know, being fucking trying to get one up on a story, and that it is not true, because we just don't want the man to be losing his leg, even with all the controversy that surrounds Lil Boosie. But yeah, you guys, so that is the story. When I know more about it, then you'll know more. Oh, your girl Nene. You know how sometimes you see somebody that is in such a panic, it kind of seems like they feel like they have to make some sort of name for themselves, so they make all these really bad decisions and kind of dig the hole deeper for them. And really, you just want to say, maybe you need to just take a break. You know, I'm sure you got enough money for right now to just kind of chill for a second and really take account of your life and, you know, what's going to be your next move. Nene, she seems to be one of those ones that's just feeling like she's got to do something again now, especially with Real Housewives of Atlanta about to come back on. She's clearly not on the show for real, not just like taking a little break off the season like they done got rid of her. So I think she's in this, I got to do something. I got to let everybody know I'm still relevant. I got to do, you know. And so she hit us with the reading room, or the read session, or whatever it was called, a couple of weeks ago. And we all was like, girl, you know, where she says that she goes and gets the gays. Side note, Rockstar gay men out there. Okay. Do you guys, are y'all okay with being called the gays? It sounds very condescending to me. Like, it reminds me of when YSAP says the blacks. You know, I'm good with the blacks. The black, you know what I'm saying? Like, she says it so much that you guys must be okay with it. But to me, you know, she the whole having the gays around, you know, I'm good with the gays. I don't know, you guys. Anyway, getting back to it. So she posted on Twitter that, you know, she's still trying to get this reading room, or the read session, off the ground. You know, when she put that shit out a couple of weeks ago, we was like, no, and no, and no. Low budget. People weren't really even all that funny. We didn't know none of them, you know. So she got a lot of flack from that. She says, oh, you know, I'm still just trying to figure it out. You guys, don't worry about it. It's going to be professional and all of that. So now she's come out on Twitter and said that her dream cast for her show would be herself, of course, Phaedra from Real Housewives of Atlanta fame, Tokyo Vanity, okay, you know, that's my best friend, Love and Hip Hop Hollywood fame, and Lil Boosie, who I just told you guys that got shot in the leg and might end up taking him off of that dream roster, you know, if he's sick and has to deal with his health. But she said that was her dream roster, and she put that on her Twitter to find out what people thought about it. And you guys, I mean, most people was like, no, girl, I mean, this ain't it. This is not it. Also, I forgot, she said that she would add one rotating chair from the gays. You know, she'd have a gay up in there every week, and, you know, they would discuss certain things and I guess read people down from that. And most people are like, no. You know, she's always gonna have her diehards that's gonna be like, yeah, girl, do it, you know. But for the most part, people was like, Some people even mentioned what I mentioned, like, do you really just always want to be surrounded with negativity, like talking about people all the time? You know, how about, you know, later for that, maybe we need to do something that kind of uplift people. You know, I'm sure we all like to laugh at the expense of other people, but you know, a whole show about it. So yeah. But anyway, people are saying, no, this is not it. You know, they're saying that Lil Boosie, you know, being homophobic. They even mentioned that Tokyo Vanity was. I don't know if she is or isn't. And I don't really remember her saying much about gay people. But like I said, I don't follow her. So I don't know what she does on her social media. But, you know, people just had problems with her lineup and said that she needs to, you know, come with something better. Well, what might be better is Claudia Jordan came out with something very, very similar. I'm not sure where this is going to be, if this is going to be on BET Soul, where her other show is with the girls, you know, Selena and Lisa and, Vivica. She has put out that sorry, I got the hiccups. She has put out that she is going to have some sort of read session-like show with Al Reynolds, you know, that used to be married to Star Jones, Funky Dineva, you guys know Quentin, we love him on here on YouTube, and Gary with the T, which is, you know, Gary is on Ricky Smiley's show on the radio and does like the entertainment gossip segments on the show, and has just become a part of that show altogether. But she is now saying that she's going to come out, which sounds very, very similar to the show that Nene is trying to do. I wouldn't put it past Claudia being petty, you know, trying to kind of steal Nene's thunder and do it better. And when you look at the different cast and, you know, the lineup that they both have, you know, maybe Claudia might be more successful in this. I still don't feel like we need like a, you know, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's what people still like to see, but yeah, so Claudia's coming out with something. Nene's about to have her thing, and yeah, you guys, I don't know, but it's not making Nene look all that good. And I just wish that Nene would maybe just take the time to regroup. You know, what happened to her show that she was supposed to have on E! Channel, where she goes and has the teams battle? I mean, that's not all as scandalous and, you know, key field as a reading session, I would imagine. But I mean, it still could be a pretty cute show, and maybe just something to keep her out there until something better comes along. But, you know, I don't know. But it's sad to see Nene go out like this, you know, for her to be such a big star on Real Housewives of Atlanta, and then for it to just kind of fizzle out like this, you know, just sort of like, But anyway, would you guys watch either of those shows? If you would, which one would you watch? Would it be Nene's or would it be Claudia's? All right, you guys, coming from the West Coast, just have to let you guys know about the vandalization of Nipsey Hussle's store right there on Crenshaw and Slauson. You guys, somebody posted on social media that, you know, they was gonna beat whoever's ass, you know, whoever was the one that was able to scale the large fence that covers, you know, that surrounds that parking lot with all of the businesses that Nipsey Hussle had. You know, somebody was able to climb over there and vandalize, bust out all the windows of all the businesses there. The businesses are closed, but they were still there, you know, and still had things in there, at least furniture and things like that. But yeah, whoever got in there was able to bust the shit out and upset some of the Crips out there in Los Angeles, you guys. The guy is really upset. What I can tell you guys, though, is like, so my family and my friends all live over there, okay? And they will tell you that Crenshaw and Slauson, because of Nipsey Hussle's death, has become like it's a lot of unmentionables over there. First, you have people that are trying to profit off of his death, so they're selling like the fake Crenshaw, the fake Slauson t-shirts and things, you know, the things that he was selling in the store. Now we've got just people that then went and silk screened and made them some t-shirts and they're selling them out there. But on top of that, you just got a lot of people that's hanging out in the Fat Burger, all in the alleyway over there, just making it really not safe for people to have to come over there. You got a lot of people that are still tourists that come through there thinking it's safe. We're going to take pictures with the mural and all of that. But all of my friends that live out there be like, girl, ain't nobody going over there. Them motherfuckers look like they gonna rob you at any minute, which is sad because he had that corner was prosperous and there was so many things that was happening over there. And then for him to go and then for it to all just kind of get shot to shit like this. And now, you know, somebody is disrespectful enough to just come in there and tear the shit up. Yeah, it's definitely a kick in the teeth, but not surprising. Not surprising. I don't want to be scaring people away like when you go out there and visit and you go over there in that area. But like I said, my people, my folks out there, my family, my friends are just like, girl, it is a mess. And that corner has always been super congested. And it's always been crowded there and it's always been a lot going on. But I would imagine with Nipsey's death, it's probably 2 or 3 times that now. So, yeah, I thought that his family would have, well, you know what? They can't close it because aren't they supposed to be putting some sort of square there? It's supposed to be something for the community there. So that's probably why everything is still erected over there. But, yeah, just niggas, you know, people just ain't. I am actually surprised that somebody was able to get over the gate and get up in there and nobody saw it, you know, because it's always a whole bunch of people over there now. So it could be very much some of the riffraff that's just hanging out over there and just doing it. But yeah, it's unfortunate, you know, to see Nipsey's dream like that is just dwindling away. Hopefully they're able to catch the person that did it, though. And hopefully the police catch him before anybody else catch them, child, because I don't know what might happen then. All right, you guys, another real quick story for you. They say that Lil Wayne faces 10 years in prison. Yeah, it seems that Lil Wayne had a gold-plated gun in his bag and that he was traveling. Now, he was on a private plane. He wasn't brandishing the gun. He wasn't waving it around. He didn't pull it out on nobody. It was in his bag. And I'm assuming you still have to go through TSA or some sort of security when you even on a private flight, and that's when the gun was discovered. So you guys know that he is a convicted felon. Convicted felons are not supposed to have guns, and so now he's going to be charged and he may go to jail. I don't think that he will, but yeah, never good. So his next court date, or his first court date, is set for December 11th. And we'll see what happens to him then. But I don't know why these people be carrying guns. Now, this happened in December of last year. I was going to say, you know, maybe he's feeling threatened because of, you know, his sudden support of YSAP. But like I said, this happened last year. So, you know, he wasn't even talking all this bullshit that he's talking now, being with YSAP and all of that. But I mean, if you have security, why would you need to have a gun? But I guess that's how much the fear is in some people. Like, they feel like they gotta have it, even at the threat of knowing that you might end up in jail. So yeah, Wayne, we'll see what happens. Hopefully the poor man don't go back to jail, though. Nobody wants to see that. All right, you guys, and then lastly, the versus battle that's happening tonight. So this is Thursday. I'm gonna try really hard to get this video up on Thursday, so you guys will have seen this before the battle. It will be between Jeezy and my boy Gucci Mane. Y'all know I loves me some Gucci. Okay, he's a little ignorant, a little petty, but anyway, and we do love Jeezy as well, and we've seen him come, you know, we've seen him change, and now he's got his girlfriend and the fiance, and they love each other and all this. Like, we've seen the transformation of both sides. So it's like, okay, it'll be nice to see Jeezy and Gucci in this battle. And, you know, somebody asked me, was I going to watch it? And I was like, I mean, if I remember, but, you know. But then I started thinking, I was like, Jeezy and Gucci. Why do I remember there was some sort of beef between the two? Okay, so you guys, I moved here in 2004. And in 2005, I can very clearly remember reading about this story, this beef between Jeezy and Gucci Mane. Okay. And the funny thing is why it picked up on my radar at the time, because at the time I didn't know Gucci or Jeezy. But why it became interesting to me was because there was a strip club off of Moreland, or like over there, some little like rundown strip club that me and Mr. was gonna go to when we first moved here. But then I didn't like the way the parking lot looked. It's right over there, either by Jonesboro Road or Moreland. I think it was on Moreland. Anyway, the story was about Gucci meeting this stripper and him feeling like this stripper has set him up. So I'm going to give you guys the background story on the beef between Jeezy and Gucci Mane. Okay, there's an article in Complex magazine. It's on complex.com. That I actually read, but I actually remember reading this back in like 2005, 2006, and I think I read it on like a Diary of a Hollywood Street King or something like that. Does he still have his blog? I used to love his blog. He had like blind items and all things like that. But yeah, Complex runs it all down for you, and if you don't feel like reading the Complex magazine story, then I'm gonna shorten it up for you. I'm gonna condense it, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened, okay? So back in 2005, they did a song together called So Icy. Jeezy was supposed to put it on his debut album, all right? But for whatever reason, Gucci got the song and ended up putting it on his first independent album. Jeezy was not happy about that. He actually was pissed about that. So in a song later on that year, 2005, Jeezy came out with a song called, like a disc in a song called Stay Strapped. And in the song, he talks about snatching Gucci's chain. And of course, Gucci heard that and felt threatened by that. So he comes out with a response to that called Round One, okay? Basically letting Jeezy know that the beef is on, okay? But you got to remember, these are street dudes. These are street niggas that ain't 100% made it like that. So, you know, the way that they behaved then is not necessarily how they would behave now. These are real street niggas, right? So the beef was on. The girl that I remember in the story, which is not in the Complex magazine, but I think that I remember this story, was that this girl was a stripper at that strip club that me and Mr. was gonna go to, right? She invited Gucci to her home, and he went over to visit her, and 4 guys broke into the house. They assaulted Gucci, was beating him up or whatever. I guess they was threatening they was going to kill him, or I'm sure he felt like he was going to get killed by them. He may have recognized some of them or whatever. But he ended up pulling out a gun and got to shooting, okay? Ended up hitting one of the guys and killing him. And one of those guys was from CTE, which is, he was signed to CTE rap label, which was Young Thug's, not Young Thug, let me get my youngs together. Young Jeezy's label. This guy's name was Pookie Loke, and his real name was Henry Lee Clark III. He shot and killed him. You know, he was charged for that murder. And, you know, it had come out that it was Jeezy's people, even though Jeezy said that he never knew, you know, he didn't know anything about all of this going on. And I don't know if that's true or false, but of course we do know sometimes our crews can take shit a whole lot further, okay? But still, people didn't think that Jeezy was 100% out of it, but I guess nobody snitched on him, and he was able to say that he didn't have any idea what was going on there. And, you know, Gucci said that he was remorseful about what happened, but he, you know, he had to protect himself. So he was charged for it, went to court, was acquitted, okay? Said it was self-defense, so he got off. And then after that, over the years, there were songs released on both sides where they kind of went at each other. Their camps went at each other as well. So the shit just was really bad between the two of them. Then in 2009, Young Jeezy wanted to call a truce. Said that he wanted to work with Gucci. Gucci seemed like he was okay with that, and supposedly these two were starting to work together again. They were going to have a collaboration. They had a couple of songs that Gucci said that they had, you know, that was already in the hole. But a lot of times, like I said, you will be ready to move on, but your crew won't be, okay? These are street niggas, remember? So their crews was out got into some big ass confrontation in front of some clothing store. There was some shooting going on. Waka, who was, Waka Flocka Flame, was signed to Gucci at the time. He was in the fight. It was a whole big mess. Okay. So I would think that kind of set this collaboration shit back, because even though y'all want to be kumbaya, your boys ain't. So they had kind of come to a conclusion that there was too much water under the bridge for them really to work together. Now, fast forward to 2011, Jeezy is on Sway's talk show or podcast or whatever. It wasn't a podcast back then, but he's on his show and he's telling him how it was a big misunderstanding, the beef with him and Gucci, and that Gucci didn't even know the reason why he didn't want to perform Icy back in the day with Gucci was because he needed to have throat surgery. Even his label didn't know about it, and that, I guess he was protecting himself or shielding himself from all that. And so he goes out and says that. Not sure what happened, but come around 2012, it seems like these two weren't feeling each other again. Gucci said in an interview, I think with the Breakfast Club or something, that he didn't respect him. Jeezy called him crazy, used the R word. I won't use it here. I don't want to offend anybody, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And then after that, the diss tracks start up again. Gucci comes out with a song called Truth. And then he puts out $100,000 bet on Twitter and says that he could beat up Jeezy. By this time, I guess it's about 2014, okay? So now we 10 years old, 9 years later, they still beefing, right? Well, then Gucci goes to jail because Gucci has a gun, found with a gun. And much like Lil Wayne, he's a felon with a gun, and you cannot have that. So he goes to jail. He's in jail for 2 years. Whatever happened to him in those 2 years, when he came out of jail, he was a different man. Boom, boom. Okay. He goes on Breakfast Club 2016. He says that, he don't have no problems with Jeezy. He don't really see them two talking to each other. He has no reason to talk to him, but he don't have a problem with him. Like, they could coexist. They don't have to have no more drama between the two of them, but he don't really have shit to say to him, and he don't really want to hear what Jeezy got to say. But then earlier this year, in April, Gucci laughed at a meme that was put on social media that was kind of poking fun at the Pookie Loc boy being killed. It was on social media. Somebody made some sort of meme, and he put up like laughing emojis. Okay, and then in July of this year, Jeezy goes on and says, he would like to just have like a backroom conversation with Gucci, like no cameras, nobody needs to be around, like these like two for real niggas from back in the day, like need to just sit down and clear the air. He would like to have that conversation, but we can want all kind of things. That don't mean it's gonna happen. Well, then we get COVID and we get the verses and all of that is happening, and somebody suggests that Gucci and Jeezy does it. So Jeezy reaches out, I guess, to Gucci's people, and Gucci respectfully declines the offer. That was on November 9th, I believe it is. Okay, we'll fast forward to November 5th, and we find out that these two are going to be in a versus battle. Okay, and that versus battle will take place tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay, 5 p.m. Pacific time. And now that I have told you guys all of and you can throw in all your spicy parts in the middle of all that, you guys, because I'm sure it's way more to it. But now that I've given you guys a general overview of the beef between these two, and that shit is real, not for play, will you be watching the versus battle? I am going to watch, just because I want to see how these two interact with each other. Now, of course, like I said, everybody grown man now, right? They both have the loves of their lives, and Gucci is expecting a baby, and Jeezy has his woman, and they gonna be getting married, and we've seen a different side of him, and he seems to be happy, and Gucci seems to be happy, and there's positivity all around. So I would really love to see these two street niggas really be able to like sit down. And I mean, we won't get that conversation, but I still want to see, because like I said, Gucci can be petty, and sometimes you can continue to rub a nigga that's changed the wrong way, and eventually they'll rear their ugly head too. Now both of them have a lot to lose now way more than they did back in the day. So I don't expect them to act no kind of fool, but I still want to just see. I just want to see, because they don't strike me as the type that's going to just play nice. So yeah, you guys, definitely will be watching it. Hats off to Timbaland and Swizzy, who was able to pull this off, y'all. So it's going to be interesting. Y'all gonna watch it tonight? All right, you guys, let me get on off of here. Hey, before I go, I want to remind you guys all that you saw that Bondi Blue was having some issues with YouTube this week. They gave her some copyright strikes over some bullshit. And so she has created another channel, like a backup channel, because the reason why people do backup channels is when there's a threat to their first channel, they like to do a backup channel so that they can still retain their subscribers. It's hard sometimes to find somebody once they are gone, even though many of us support Bondi Blue, Brittany, and will, you know, promote her and let you guys know where she is. She also has created this second channel, Relax with Blue, just to, you know, put more content over there, just to try to make sure that she can hold on to subscribers just in case YouTube decide to just pull the plug on her one day. I don't think that they will. I think that she's going to be able to get those copyright strikes off, but you just don't never know. It's always something with YouTube. So I just want to tell you guys all to please go over there and subscribe to her channel. I'll put her link on the screen here. I'll put it down below in the description box. I'm so bad with that description box, but I'll remember to do it. And you guys make sure you go over there and follow her there. And she's also putting up new content over there as well. So she has 2 channels that she's operating now. Okay, and I am going to get off of here. We do this every single week. So make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you come back. Until next time, rock stars. Bye.